Hi everybody, I am JewUA, GeneaVlogger, and
it's a quick genealogy tip.
On today's quick genealogy tip, I will be discussing the website JewUA.info. For anybody who is researching their Jewish ancestry in the Ukraine, this is an extremely vital website in terms of finding documentation on your family. In previous videos, I've discussed ways that you can obtain records from the Ukraine, things like the Alex Krakovsky Project or hiring researchers in the Ukraine, but JewUA.info is one of the easiest ways for someone who speaks English especially to obtain records from the Ukraine. Now the actual website URL is www.JewUA.info. There's another website that is run by the same folks. It's called the lipesdatabase.com. That's LIPES database.com. There's really no difference between the two websites. It's the exact same database. But on JewUA, they have different information on some of their other services, such as heritage tours or even neighborhood research, where they go to the neighborhoods that your family are from to see if anybody knows your family or knew your family. Now, these websites are run by a couple, Alex Lipes and Nadia Lipes, and they are Jewish genealogy researchers and historians who have done an extensive amount of work. The database that they have on the website includes a ton of different documentation and a lot of documentation that will help people researching their family not only find their family, but actually extend their family trees. Now, some of the main records available on this database include the Russian Empire Population Census of 1897, the Russian Empire Military Census of 1875, all sorts of vital records including birth, marriage, and death, the Jewish Philistines lists, and then also the tax revision lists ranging from about 1805 to 1858, which are known, and I'm going to butcher the saying of this, the Revisky Skaki. Now, along with these records, there's all sorts of other business records, tax records, court records, military records, and other types of town records as well. So there's all sorts of things that you're going to be able to find through the database. When you start searching through the database, there are a couple things that you really should understand so that it'll help you in finding the documentation that you're looking for. The first major thing is to understand the naming traditions and naming variations that are coming out of the Russian Empire as well as the Jewish populations of the Russian Empire, and also the variations of patronymics when it comes to these variations of names. For a lot of different records, the patronymic or the name of the father will actually be included in the name. Sometimes you'll even get the name of the grandfather. When you actually pull up the search results on the database, you'll see there's a column for the patronymic, although sometimes you may find patronymics in the first name column. Now, with name variations, you're going to find different spellings for transliterations. And by that, I mean that people will choose different English letters to represent the transliteration letter. So a very common one is sometimes people will do a K, or sometimes they'll do a CH as a transliteration. So a really good option when you're searching this database is if you have a name, let's say like Kazanovich, you can search that with a K and then search it with a CH. And by that way, you're getting every single name that's been transliterated using the different spelling. Now with this database, one of the things that I really like is that there's a page that actually describes what letters they chose in the English transliteration to represent the Russian letters. Not everyone is going to give you a guide like that. Not everyone is going to do it in the same way every single time either. But this actually makes it a little bit easier. Another major thing that you'll want to understand when searching through this database is the geography of Ukraine. Understand not only where the cities are and what provinces or Oezd that they're in, but also understand what regions they're in, or what's known as the Gubernia. There are a lot of different levels in terms of the governance of different areas. So when you're searching through this database, you may find some families listed in different areas, even though technically they're the same area. In my own family, they come from a town called Tulchyn. Well, Tulchin is in Vinnytsia, and it's also part of Podolskaya Gubernia. I was able to find records on my Waxman family, which is actually listed as Vakser, in Tulchin records, in Vinnytsia records, and in the Podolskaya records. So you don't want to limit yourself to just one little town when you're searching. Look at the towns nearby. Look at the areas that are nearby. Look at the Oezd. Look at the Gubernia. Make sure that you check out everything. Often when I search the database, I like to first search as specific as possible, but then I get broader and broader and broader because you just don't know where your family may have lived. And people moved around the Pale a lot more than they would really expect these days. So you may find your family in one town one year, and then within just a couple of decades, they're a couple hundred miles away in a whole different town. It's not uncommon. Now, an important thing to learn for this database, and it's also available for a lot of different other types of searches, is using an asterisk within the name. Now, in the search database, right under the search entry field, there's actually a little blurb all about how to use the asterisk. It's not the most straightforward, but the basic way with the asterisk is the asterisk represents an unknown letter or letters. So let's say that in my own family, I'm looking for the Vakser family, but maybe it's spelled with something other than a V. So I can put an asterisk and then A-K-S-E-R, and it's going to come up with every single surname that ends with A-K-S-E-R. It's not going to be just a one letter, it's going to be everything. You can also use the asterisk at the end of a name. So let's say you're looking for the Rabinovich family, and you're not quite sure how do you spell the end part. Well, you can actually put R-A-B-I-N asterisk, and then when you search, this is going to search for everything that begins with R-A-B-I-N. So you may find things that don't even have anything after, or you may find things where it's Rabinovich or Rabinowitz or something completely different. And the third way you can use an asterisk is by putting it somewhere in the middle of the name, and just in the same fashion, it's going to represent a letter or letters that are unknown. So in my family, we were searching for the Artzis family, but sometimes it's spelled Artzis with a Z-I-S, sometimes S-I-S, could be a lot of different things. So what I do is I put A-R-T asterisk S, and that's going to give me every single name that is going to be Artzis. I can also do it where it's A-R-T, just the asterisk, and then get everything after that. But sometimes you can try to manipulate it. It's easier to be as specific as possible in the search at first, and then broadening that search field as you go on and go on. Because when you're searching at a more finite level, it's a lot easier to find those documents that are going to be significant to your research. Every time I use the database, I always make sure to click this sounds like option. This is an option that's going to give you all sorts of names that are similar to the surname that you are searching for. It's not always going to give you a lot of variations, so you're going to want to keep trying different spellings, but by keeping that sounds like option on, it can really change a lot of the different search results that you get. And you may end up finding that your family name transliterated from the Russian version may be very different than what you were expecting it to be. Now, when you get your search results, it's going to give you some basic information. It's more like an index, really. Now, what it gives you in the search results is it's going to give you the area or the city. They just say the Oezd, but it's multiple different things. So you might see the city, you might see the gubernia. It will also give you the family name or the surname. It will give you their name, the first name or the proper name. You also have a field for patronymics. So if there is the name of the father, there's a column for your age, a year column for when the record is from. There's also a column on notes, which is very important because this will often give you another name on that record. Sometimes that name might be the name of a child if it's a birth record. Sometimes it might be the name of a spouse. I was actually able to find the death record for my third great grandfather, Shmara Vakser, and I also found the death record for his wife. And even though it's the death record for his wife, he's the one listed as the main person, and she's listed in the notes. It's also going to tell you the document type. So if it's a vital record, if it's a census, if it's part of the military census, it's going to tell you what type of document it is, but it's not always going to be specific. So for your vital records, it's not going to tell you if it's a birth, if it's a marriage, if it's a death. To figure that out, you'll need to look at the age of the person and look at the notes and look at the year to try and figure out, is that a death? Is that a marriage? Is that a birth? Often with births, you're going to get no age listed, and you're going to have the name, the family name, and then you're going to have the child's name in the notes. For marriages, you'll often find that the person's age is somewhere in a marriage age, teens to 20s or 30s. And then for death records, you'll often find that their age is much older. It can all vary, though. It's never 100% which one you are getting, but you can usually tell which type of document it is. Now, these records aren't necessarily cheap. It's 30 euros per record, and they also offer a translation service, which will vary depending on the records. I've seen it at 10 euros per record for translation, and then I've seen some records where they're 20 euros per translation. So you're looking at 30 to 50 euros depending on what you want out of that, and that's per document. Now, I've ordered a bunch of documents from this website already, and the results that I've received were pretty great. I didn't order any of the translations with them, so I don't know how those come with it, but I have heard from some people who have ordered them, and they were very happy with what they received. What you receive when you just order the document includes the picture of the cover of the book, or what sometimes is known as the fond. So that'll give you the basic information of the records. In some of the records, it also included a picture of the description page of the book. And then you also receive the actual picture of the record. The picture is of the full page, and it will include both pages if the record covers 2 pages. For a lot of records that are in the vital records, you'll find there are 2 pages because one side will be in the Russian handwriting, the other side will be in Hebrew. Thank you so much for checking out this quick genealogy tip. If you enjoyed, please be sure to give a thumbs up. You can also click right about here if you'd like to subscribe. It's completely free to do so. You can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at GeneaVlogger. I'm the GeneaVlogger. I'll see you in my next video.